Hello, this is our first podcast. We're so excited to be here. I am Frank Gonzalez. I am the architect and contractor. I am the founder of US Building Efficiency Solution, also known as US-BES. We provide architectural and construction services. I'd like to start this podcast with discussing water leakages into residential and commercial buildings. Recently, I've been getting a lot of calls, whether they're foundations, roof, or wall leakage. In our profession, we do not like to guesswork. We prefer to basically have evidence. We have a system of testing that enables us to basically formulate how water is coming in. I like to talk about more water infiltration into older buildings, into their foundations, particularly the ones that were built after the 1900s. And the reason I say that is because they were not installed with what we call French drains or trench drains, or the walls were waterproof. A lot of them were built with some sort of stone, particularly limestone. In the Midwest, it would be Indiana limestone. Regarding foundation water leakage problem, particularly the older homes, and sometimes in the Midwest, it wasn't affordable until the 1940s, maybe the 50s, and who knows? I mean, the history of trench drains, French drains are both used interchangeably. It's the same. We're not as consistent or affordable during the 70s. Now there are other buildings that were built in the 60s or 40s that had that. The older buildings where we're trying to concentrate, particularly at the turn of the century where they had limestone foundations or stone foundations, they lack the two things. They lack the French drains along the foundation, and they lack the waterproofing coating that goes along. One of the examples that we have with limestone turn-of-century foundations, that they don't have the typical trench drains along the footers, or they don't have the waterproofing membrane along the wall of the exterior of the foundation wall. Now that we have a good understanding where foundation problems and leaks occur, once you have installed the waterproofing membrane, you have the trench drain. Now you want to look at the facade, the exterior facade, whether it's brick, whether it's siding, wood siding, hardy board. Do not wait until you have a leak. Be proactive. We want you to call professionals, whether in construction or an engineer, an architect, that gives you ideas based on professionalism of experience, and at the same time that they have a way to test the system. We're talking about the walls and foundations, and that means finding evidence. Do not go with guesswork, or I think it's this or I think it's that. That's strictly guesswork. In my experience, I go in and I start with, tell me as little as I know about the building. Do not tell me too much. Just tell me a general idea and let me discover the problems, because in that way, it's a non-biased opinion. We passed the foundation wall, we're gonna move up, let's just say the exterior facade. And as we do that, there's a window opening. And then there's a window opening, there's usually a lintel. And the lintel is a piece of steel that actually deflects the loads to the sides, so the loads continue down onto the foundation. Basically, if you didn't have a window, you would need a lintel, and the lintel is basically to disperse the loads off that opening. It's the old saying, you don't take a brick and you don't put something in there. You got to put something. In this case, it's a window. What we do with that window, we actually put a steel channel over it. It's an L channel. That itself disperses the loads around the windows and brings them down. Very similar to an arch. When you pop the window back in the Roman period, they popped the window, it was an arch. We still use arches, but now we have other means of how to disperse loads that come down and to move them aside. The issue with a lintel is that many times there is leakage around your window. And I will tell you this, windows typically don't leak. They're manufactured inside a controlled plant. The problem is the insulation around the window that leaks. Do not suggest or assume that just because your window perimeter leaks or around the window that you need a new window. It generally is the issue that the flashing around the perimeter needs to be properly flashed, and there are repairs to go around the window and make sure. I want to test it. You got to test. If you don't test, you don't know. And if you don't know, honestly, you're guessing. Well, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up.